I'm sitting in a packed investor conference room, watching my boss, Ben, present my expansion plan, slide by slide, to roaring applause. The logo I designed glows across the screen, but beneath it reads, Concept by Ben. My stomach twists. Every forecast, every algorithm, every detail mine. And now he's selling it like it was born in his brain. The investors hang on his every word. The CEO's smiling. I want to speak to scream, but Ben catches my eye, that smug little smirk that says, Go ahead, make a scene. My throat locks up. The room bursts into applause. My chest burns. I can actually feel the betrayal spreading through me like poison. I should have known, because Ben always smiled when he lied. 3 months earlier, everything felt different. I was exhausted but thrilled. Ben just hinted I might lead the new expansion division. He called me his secret weapon during our weekly check-in. I felt a rush of pride hearing those words. Maybe all those late nights fixing problems nobody else wanted to touch were finally paying off. Maybe I was finally being seen. My expansion model was nearly complete, built around a logistics algorithm I'd been perfecting for years. I stayed late that Friday, tweaking the final calculations, making sure everything was perfect. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Ben. Don't tell anyone about the model yet. Let's surprise them. I smiled, thinking he wanted to make a big announcement together. 2 weeks later, I perfected the logistics algorithm that made the expansion plan truly unique. It calculated shipping routes, warehouse placement, and demand forecasting with scary accuracy. I ran the numbers again and again. It worked beautifully. That's when I remembered something my college professor once said. Always protect your ideas. So I registered a provisional patent in my own name, quietly, just to be safe. It felt smart, not suspicious. The filing cost me $200 and an afternoon of paperwork. I saved the confirmation email in a folder labeled Personal Projects. Then I went back to refining the presentation. Ben suggested we present it together at the upcoming strategy meeting. I felt like a real partner. During the strategy meeting, everything changed. I started explaining the algorithm's benefits, but Ben jumped in, rephrasing my ideas as his own thoughts. He talked over me, using phrases I'd written in our shared documents. The team clapped for him. I laughed it off. Maybe he just got carried away with excitement. But when I tried to add context about the data sources, he cut me off smoothly. What Mara means is... The room nodded at his explanation. After the meeting, he pulled me aside in the hallway. His hand rested on my shoulder, friendly but firm. You don't need credit, he said quietly. You'll get your turn. His smile looked genuine. I wanted to believe him. I was sure I'd be next in line for a senior role. The company was expanding, and I'd done the heavy lifting on every major project for 2 years. But instead, the CEO announced Ben's promotion to Vice President of Operations during the monthly all-hands meeting. Everyone applauded. Ben stood up, waving modestly, then spoke into the microphone. I couldn't have done this without my incredible team. He gestured vaguely toward the room. Not at me. Not my name. Just team. My face felt hot. After the meeting, he leaned close and whispered, Our plans moving forward. Keep quiet till I say go. His breath smelled like coffee and mint. I nodded, still hoping he meant well. But doubt started creeping in. A coworker named Lisa cornered me in the break room the next week. I heard about Ben's brilliant new expansion idea, she said, pouring coffee. My heart dropped. What did you hear? I asked carefully. She stirred in sugar, eyes bright with gossip. He's pitching it to investors next month. Revolutionary logistics model, apparently. My hand started shaking. I excused myself and rushed back to my desk. I opened our shared presentation folder, the one where I'd saved every version of the plan. My name had been scrubbed off completely. Every slide now listed Ben as the sole creator. I stared at the screen, my vision blurring. He'd edited the files over the weekend. Methodically. Deliberately. This wasn't an accident. I marched straight to Ben's office. My heart pounded, so hard I could hear it. Why was my name removed from the presentation? I demanded. He looked up from his laptop, eyebrows raised innocently. Then he smiled, that same smile from the conference room. It's a team effort, Mara. Don't make this personal. His voice stayed calm, almost bored. I felt my anger deflate. He made me sound petty, possessive. But I built the entire algorithm, I said weakly. He shrugged. And the company pays you to build things. That's how jobs work. He turned back to his screen, dismissing me. I stood there for another second, humiliated, then left. That night, I opened my patent file for the first time in months. I reread the patent documentation carefully. My name, my filing date, my algorithm. Everything Ben was selling to investors depended on this single piece of technology. Without it, the expansion plan was just pretty slides and empty promises. I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just hurt feelings anymore, this was leverage. Real, legal, documented leverage. I started keeping notes on every conversation with Ben, every email he sent, every file he changed. I created a private folder on my personal laptop backing up every version of our work with timestamps. I wasn't planning revenge yet. I was just protecting myself. But as I saved each document, I felt stronger, calmer, ready. I stopped reacting and started watching. Ben got sloppy when he felt safe. He forwarded confidential investor updates to his personal email. He bragged to junior staff about his revolutionary idea. He left his laptop unlocked during lunch breaks. I didn't hack anything. I just paid attention. I took screenshots of emails where he claimed sole ownership. I saved chat logs where he dismissed my contributions. I documented every lie, every exaggeration, every stolen sentence. Then I noticed something in his calendar. A private investor preview scheduled for next Tuesday. My name wasn't on the invite list. My stomach churned. He was doing it again, but bigger this time. I had 4 days to decide what to do. I snuck into the investor preview by volunteering to help the AV team set up equipment. Nobody questioned me. I was always helpful, always invisible. I stood in the back corner as Ben took the stage. On the screen, my plan, my data, my logo, his name. The investors leaned forward, fascinated. Ben spoke confidently, answering technical questions with answers I'd written in our project notes. My hands clenched into fists. Then I noticed her, a woman in the front row, mid-50s, sharp suit, taking notes. Her name tag read Julia Chen, Venture Capital. As Ben clicked through my algorithm's architecture, Julia's eyes found mine across the room. She held my gaze for 3 long seconds. She knew. Somehow she knew. Back at my desk, I almost quit. I opened a blank email to HR, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Tears blurred my vision. The humiliation felt unbearable. But quitting meant he won. It meant every late night, every skipped dinner, every missed weekend was for nothing. I closed the email draft and put my head down on my desk. My phone buzzed. An email from an unknown address. Lunch tomorrow? Off record. Julia Chen. I sat up straight, wiping my eyes. My heart started racing again, but differently this time. I typed back. Yes. Where? Her reply came instantly. Small cafe on 5th Street. Noon. Come alone. I stared at the message, hope flickering in my chest like a candle in the dark. Julia was already seated when I arrived, stirring iced tea with a thin straw. She gestured for me to sit. I've seen this before, she said quietly, no greeting, no small talk. Ben stole from someone else at his last company. Brilliant developer named Marcus. Same pattern. Take credit, gaslight the creator, climb the ladder. My breath caught. What happened to Marcus? I asked. Julia's expression hardened. He quit. No documentation, no proof. Ben walked away clean. She leaned forward. But you're smarter than Marcus, aren't you? You kept records. I nodded slowly. Do you still own the algorithm? She asked. I felt my pulse quicken. Yes, I whispered. I have a patent. Julia smiled. Then you have power. Use it wisely. I went straight home and checked the patent database. My name was still listed, official, time-stamped, legally binding. Ben never knew it existed. He'd stolen my work without realizing I'd locked the most important piece behind legal protection. I felt a rush of relief, so strong I almost laughed. All those months of feeling powerless, and I'd been holding the key the whole time. I printed the patent certificate and placed it in a fireproof safe. Then I sat down at my kitchen table and planned my next move. I wouldn't attack. I wouldn't complain. I would simply wait for Ben to climb higher, to commit fully to his lie. And when the moment came, I'd let the truth do the work for me. I created a test version of the algorithm, intentionally flawed. I tweaked one crucial variable, making the calculations look right on the surface but fall apart under real-world stress testing. Then I shared it with Ben via our project folder labeled Final Model Version 3.0. He downloaded it immediately. I watched the timestamp update on my screen. 2 days later, he announced he'd be presenting the model to department heads on Friday. He didn't test it first. He didn't ask questions. He just assumed I'd handed him another victory. I felt a dark satisfaction building in my chest. Friday couldn't come fast enough. I prepared my own files, the real algorithm safely stored elsewhere. And I waited. Friday's presentation started strong. Ben stood at the front of the boardroom, confidence radiating from every word. He clicked through slides, explaining supply chain optimization, cost reduction projections. The department heads nodded, impressed. Then he reached the live demo, the part where the algorithm processed real data in real time. He pressed enter. The screen froze. Numbers flickered, then crashed into error messages. Red warnings filled the display. Ben's face went pale. He clicked frantically, trying to restart the system. Nothing worked. The CFO cleared his throat awkwardly. Maybe we should reschedule. Ben stammered something about technical difficulties. The room emptied quietly, people avoiding eye contact. An hour later, Ben stormed into my office, face red with fury. What did you do? I stayed perfectly calm, my voice steady and professional. You must have made a change I didn't approve, I said, meeting his eyes. He glared at me, jaw clenched, searching for proof I'd sabotaged him on purpose. But I'd been too careful. I shrugged. The version I gave you worked fine when I tested it. Maybe something got corrupted during transfer. He wanted to explode, to scream, but other people were watching from the hallway. So he forced a smile, that same fake smile I'd seen 100 times. We'll fix this, he said through gritted teeth. I nodded pleasantly. Of course. But as he walked away, I saw something new in his posture, uncertainty. He wasn't sure of me anymore. And that scared him. HR called me in 2 days later. Ben had filed a formal complaint, accusing me of sabotaging his presentation. I sat across from the investigator, a middle-aged woman named Diane, and calmly presented my evidence. Dated work logs, showing every hour I'd spent on the project. Email chains proving I'd created the original algorithm. Screenshots of Ben editing my name out of documents. And finally, my provisional patent, filed months before Ben ever claimed the work as his. Diane's eyes widened as she flipped through the pages. This is very thorough, she said quietly. I nodded. I keep good records. She made careful notes, thanking me for my time. As I left, I noticed Ben waiting nervously outside her office. Our eyes met. His smile was gone. Ben disappeared the next week, supposedly on vacation. The office buzzed with rumors. When he returned 2 weeks later, he acted overconfident again, like nothing had happened. He announced an investor showcase scheduled for next month, the big one, where everything will be revealed. He spoke with forced enthusiasm during the all-hands meeting, painting a picture of company transformation and industry disruption. But I noticed small cracks in his armor, the way his hand shook slightly when he clicked the remote, the way he avoided looking at me directly. That afternoon, my phone buzzed. A text from Julia. Investors are requesting technical documentation before the showcase. Get ready. My heart raced. The trap was set. I just had to wait for him to walk into it. 4 weeks until the investor showcase. I spent every evening refining my documentation, making sure every version of the algorithm traced back to my name. I organized emails chronologically. I compiled version histories showing my laptop as the source of every major breakthrough. I even tracked the IP addresses of file edits, proving most of Ben's contributions came from copying my work. My apartment became a war room. Papers spread across the dining table, my laptop running backups constantly. I barely slept. Then Ben sent an all-company memo taking full public credit for the expansion plan, calling it his vision brought to life. The memo went to clients, partners, and industry press. He just made his lie official and public. Perfect. An anonymous internal leak appeared on the company message board, screenshots of Ben taking credit for others' work, not just mine. Projects from years ago, ideas stolen from junior developers, presentations plagiarized from external consultants. The office buzzed with rumors and speculation. People whispered in hallways, glancing nervously at Ben's office. He tried to laugh it off in a company-wide email, calling it disgruntled gossip, but the damage was done. Doubt surrounded him like smoke. 2 days later, he called me into his office, closing the door hard behind me. "Did you do this?" he demanded. I looked at him calmly. "Do what?" His face twisted with frustration. He knew, but he couldn't prove anything. And that was killing him. He leaned across his desk, voice low and threatening. "If you undermine me again, you're fired. I don't care what documentation you think you have." I stood up slowly, my heart pounding but my voice steady. I stared straight at him and said, "Then you'll have to explain why your entire expansion plan runs on my patent." His face went pale. The color drained so fast I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. He laughed, a forced, hollow sound. "You're bluffing." I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and showed him the patent certificate. His eyes scanned the screen, and I watched realization hit him like a truck. He opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again. "We can work something out," he said weakly. I put my phone away. "Maybe," I said. Then I walked out. The day before the investor showcase, I finalized my own presentation, just in case. I practiced my talking points, rehearsed answers to potential questions, and printed backup copies of every document. My hands shook as I organized the pages into a leather portfolio. This was it. Tomorrow, everything would either fall apart or come together. I barely ate dinner. Around 8 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Julia, they're adding a patent verification segment to tomorrow's meeting. The investors want to confirm ownership before signing anything." My breath caught. I typed back, "How did that happen?" Her response, "Let's just say someone raised concerns about intellectual property liability." I smiled. The board was protecting itself, and Ben had no idea what was coming. The investor showcase began exactly at 10 a.m. The conference room was packed. Investors, board members, senior leadership, even some press. Ben stood at the front, wearing his best suit, radiating false confidence. He clicked through my slides again, explaining the expansion plan with perfect polish. The investors nodded, impressed. Then Julia raised her hand. "Before we move forward, can we verify ownership of the patent behind this algorithm?" The room went silent. Every head turned toward Ben. He froze, mouth half open. "The patent," he stammered. Julia's assistant pulled up a screen behind him. The digital patent file appeared on the big screen. Clear, official, undeniable. Under inventor's name, Mara Collins. Not Ben. Me. The room erupted in confused whispers. Ben tried to recover. There must be. We collaborated on this," he fumbled, words tumbling out desperately. But Julia stood, holding a printed copy of the patent. "According to this filing, Mara Collins is the sole inventor. Filed 8 months ago." The CEO's face darkened. "Ben, is this true?" Ben's mouth opened and closed like a fish. The CFO pulled out his phone, fact-checking in real time. HR's director stood up, whispering urgently to legal counsel. Investors exchanged glances, their excitement turning to suspicion. "Where is Mara Collins?" someone asked. I raised my hand from the back of the room. "I'm here." Every eye turned to me. Ben's face crumbled. The CEO gestured for me to come forward. My legs felt like water, but I walked to the front. "Mara," the CEO said carefully, "how long have you had this patented?" I took a deep breath and explained everything. The timeline, the late nights, the algorithm's development, the provisional patent I'd filed to protect my work. I showed them the emails, the version histories, the documentation proving every major breakthrough came from me. The room was absolutely silent. Investors leaned forward, listening intently. When I finished, the CEO turned to Ben. "You're removed from this project effective immediately. HR will contact you." Ben's face went red, then white. He left the room without another word. The CEO turned back to me. "Mara, we owe you an apology and a conversation about your role moving forward." The investors applauded. I felt tears sting my eyes, but this time They were good tears. 1 week later, I resigned. A rival firm acquired the expansion rights directly from me for 7 figures. Ben was gone. My name was everywhere. I didn't destroy him. I just stopped protecting him.